The Forbidden Dream, the black box that invaded my mind. Episode 3. The terrifying awakening. I woke up in the dead of night, jolted awake as if an unseen hand had snatched me from a deep slumber. My body was drenched in cold sweat, every muscle tight, and my heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the eerie silence. It was still the same rundown hotel room we'd rented in Egypt, thick with the smell of dust and ancient must, carrying the faint scent of forgotten legends. But something was off, deeply, profoundly wrong. My eyes instinctively drifted to the worn wooden table by the bed. The dim light from the old lamp cast a faint glow on a jet-black object, lying still yet radiating an unsettling pull, like a cursed artifact. The black box David found yesterday, crafted from gleaming obsidian, swallowing all light, inscribed with golden hieroglyphs that shimmered like the veins of an ancient, living thing. Its lid was open. A faint, eerie blue light bled from within, flickering like the breath of a 1,000-year-old entity, a phantom pulse. I remembered every detail, clear as day. I had personally locked it, tucked it deep in my suitcase, even piled heavy archaeology books on top to keep it still. Yet here it was, exposed, its lid agape like a dark maw, hinting at a terrifying secret. I couldn't recall touching it. Not a single memory, not even a hazy one, of opening it or placing it on the table. The blank space in my mind amplified my fear. But then I heard sounds in my head. Not auditory sounds, but a vibration, a persistent whisper repeating itself. It wasn't a language I recognized, more like a feeling, a presence seeping into my thoughts, overriding everything else. The whispering seemed to emanate from the box itself, soft yet insistent, an invitation from a sacred, perilous abyss. The dream and the disappearance. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to push back the creeping unease, hoping it was just a lingering nightmare, a hallucination from exhaustion. No use. The dream was still vivid, terrifyingly real. Every detail burned into my mind. It was a vast, circular chamber carved from dark gray stone, its walls covered in grotesque carvings of serpent men, half-human, half-beast figures engaged in ancient rituals I'd never encountered in any archaeological text. The only light came from strange, eerie blue flames dancing in stone alcoves. Then a figure in a crimson robe, face obscured, stood before me, tall and still as an ancient statue. In their hand was a black box identical to the one on my table. They stepped closer, their footsteps echoing on the cold stone, bringing with them a heavy, mysterious atmosphere. Their voice, deep and commanding, resonated like an ancient bronze bell, piercing my very soul, not just words, but an ancient curse. The mind is the final door. Once you open it, you are no longer yourself. I shot upright, gasping for air, sweat pouring down my face. My heart pounded, a painful throb. David was gone. His bed was empty, the sheets tangled as if he'd scrambled out in a hurry, leaving behind a chilling void. The strange ritual. A gut feeling told me I had to find David. An irresistible urge pulled me from the room. I stumbled down the hotel hallway, each step heavy, as if I were wading through an invisible quicksand of time. The neon lights flickered erratically, blinking between two worlds, between terrifying reality and another dimension being drawn unnervingly close. Long, distorted shadows danced on the old walls, swaying grotesquely like trapped spirits. At the end of the darkened hall, David's door was slightly ajar, a sliver of pulsing red light spilling out like the beat of a dying heart. A shiver ran down my spine as I peered inside. The sight that greeted me was horrific, as if I'd walked into a forbidden rite. A red light from some unknown source was flashing intensely, casting a macabre glow. On the floor, a large ritual circle of pristine white salt now glowed a faint red, as if burning from within, a smokeless, ashless fire. And in the center of that circle, David was kneeling, head bowed, whispering incoherent ancient syllables to the open black box. His voice wasn't David's. It was hoarse, deep, as if speaking from a bottomless well, an ancient voice that didn't belong to him, but to something else, possessing him. I screamed his name, my voice caught in my throat, raw with fear. "David! David! What are you doing?" But David didn't answer. He slowly lifted his head like a puppet on strings. His eyes were wide and vacant, entirely white, no pupils, as if his soul had been drained, leaving only empty, soulless pits. A grotesque, unfeeling smile stretched across his lips, sending chills down my spine. I started to step in, to pull David from that monstrous ritual, to break that menacing salt circle. But in that very moment, a massive, shapeless dark shadow flitted across the mirror on the wall behind me, quick as a blink, almost imperceptible. A cold draft brushed against the back of my neck, as if someone was breathing right there. I spun around, nothing. Just the empty hall and my own trembling shadow. The closing box and shifting memories. I recoiled, utterly panicked, stumbling backward, feeling an invisible force push against me. Yet I couldn't tear my eyes from the black box. It was closing itself. The lid slowly descended, inch by agonizing inch, creating an unbearable tension, as if it were swallowing something whole, a secret or a soul. Then a sharp, resonant click echoed loudly, distinctly through the silent hall, like an unseen gate locking shut, sealing away not just something in space, but something in my very mind, locking away a piece of the truth. David slowly turned to look at me. His eyes were back to normal, their familiar brown, with a hint of sleepy confusion. His face held a puzzled expression, as if nothing had happened. "What are you doing here?" David asked, his voice normal, sleepy, without a trace of the recent obsession. "I was just sleeping. What ritual are you talking about?" He frowned, annoyed at being woken. "I never touched the black box." I looked down at David's feet. The salt scattered around him was now scorched black, like ash, yet he didn't seem to notice, as if it had never been there, never burned, never been part of that terrifying ritual. David looked at me like I was insane, his eyes full of skepticism. I realized he remembered nothing. No ritual, no dream. It was as if none of it had ever happened to him. The ancient parchment. I bolted back to my room, locking the door tightly, as if that flimsy barrier could protect me from the haunting presence outside. I didn't sleep a wink that night, every moment a battle between reality and illusion, between what I'd seen and what I struggled to believe. The morning sunlight offered no comfort. Instead, it starkly exposed my raw fear, making everything feel clearer and more terrifying. I had to know. I had to understand what was happening. I approached the black box on the table. This time, I slowly, carefully opened its lid, as if opening a gate to an abyss. A blast of icy air hit my face, carrying the scent of ancient stone and profound mystery. Inside, there was nothing but a new object, a brittle yellowed piece of parchment covered in ancient hieroglyphs, symbols I'd never seen before, yet they felt chillingly familiar. I showed it to David. He examined it, shaking his head. "I can't read this." "What is it?" David asked, his voice filled with skepticism, his eyes oblivious to the horror of the parchment. But I understood it perfectly. Not because I knew ancient languages, not because I'd studied these symbols, but because I'd heard those very words in the dream. The whisper in my head returned, clearer now, like an unavoidable prophecy, a truth finally unveiled. The mind is the final door. Once you open it, you are no longer yourself. The terrifying revelation, I started to understand. The dream didn't come from me. It came from the box. It wasn't just manipulating my dreams, showing me horrors. It was overwriting my memories, twisting my perception of the world, of myself. David, he might have been replaced by something else, or maybe he was just a part of my own delusion, an illusion created by the box. Or am I David, and I just don't remember it anymore? If my memories aren't real, how do I know who I am? I accidentally opened the box, and now I am being opened to reveal everything, every secret, every truth. End of episode 3. To be continued, Warehouse 13, where the box was first stored.